Hey guys, and welcome to a video covering some recent PvM changes that are incredibly good. So whenever you're ready, grab your cup of tea, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Now, I would have made a video covering these changes on the 29th of March when they actually rolled out, but I was still locked out of the game at the time. Let's kick it off with some changes to Revolution Combat Mode, some changes that are very welcome if you don't like manually spamming your abilities with your keybind. Revolution Combat Mode will now fire off abilities more consistently after a channeled ability is used. For example, Concentration Blast with magic. This means that you'll no longer lag in between channeled abilities when not pressing your keybinds manually. This used to happen with a bunch of the channeled abilities where your character would lag a little bit for 1 or 2 ticks and then start using the next ability. Now, while this update is good for Revolution users, manually cancelling your channeled abilities by pressing one keybind is still a lot faster and will increase your DPS. This example on screen shows me cancelling it manually on the left and letting Revolution do its thing on the right. As you can see, cancelling it manually is still significantly faster. As with Revolution, it waits until you finish the entire channeled ability before casting another one. But if you've watched my DPS for Beginners guide, you will know that cancelling your channeled abilities is a good thing to do. The next update is something incredible and something I would love to have seen in the game a lot earlier. You no longer need to press an ability after detonate to use an ability straight after detonate. The game now does it for you, meaning that if you were to use detonate and you have Dragonfire ready, it will use Dragonfire right after for you. This is very beneficial for Revolution users. Now, you won't be able to pick what ability you use right after detonate with Revolution because it uses it automatically, meaning if you want to use Wild Magic or Dragonfire and it's further up your bar, you will have to press it manually instead, or maybe go full manual. But if you didn't even use this trick, this is going to boost your DPS without you even doing anything. Now, if you want to do that PvM trick I showed in that video a few months ago where you use an autocast inside detonate and then use an ability, all you have to do now is, while you're charging detonate, get ready to press the keybind from your autocast, so your air surge, or maybe even vulnerability if you want to vuln the boss again if you aren't using bombs. Then press detonate, and then it will use the next ability for you automatically, meaning you only need 2 actions or 2 inputs instead of 3 now. In the PvM hub, you can now buy an upgrade for 500 boss kills or after 500 boss kills, which allows you to reset your abilities at the Altar of War where you recharge your prayer. This includes Berserk, Death Swiftness, Sunshine, Barricade, the Dragon Slayer ability codex, Limitless, Surge, Escape, Bladed Dive, and plenty more, except a couple like the Ancient Elven Ritual Shard, which doesn't work, Power Bursts do not work, but the Enhanced Excalibur does. So basically, a bunch of cooldowns can be reset using the Altar of War now, which is perfect. Just be sure you don't have a combat dummy out because apparently it stops you from resetting certain cooldowns. Next up, we have area loot, which can now be open and doesn't get closed when walking around, and you can attack while using area loot without any problems. Which means area loot for Slayer, or PvM even, is just absolutely perfect now. The only thing I found that really closes it is if you move 10 tiles away from the actual area you're looting from, or if you were to claim a daily challenge, it seems to disappear from your interface. Although that's not really a big deal because you won't be claiming that many daily challenges, I'm sure. So you might be wondering what's so good about this? Well, you could literally be walking or running around, as long as you don't go too far away, looting whatever on the ground and seeing what's on the ground in that area loot interface, the value of each of the items. It's really nice for tasks where you need to move around and you don't want to constantly be right-clicking and checking what's in there and how much it's worth. You can simply open up your area loot interface using your keybind and loot that stuff you want. If you want to change your area loot settings and your custom loot settings about how much you pick up and what the value must be for you to pick it up with your special loot option, just go to item drops, go to loot system and change your settings there. In your settings under interfaces and buff bar, you can now change the icon size of your buff bar and debuff bar from small to medium to large. Crackling will now no longer automatically activate after the cooldown has ended. Instead, it will activate as soon as you use your ability on your target, which means you will no longer get hit by Crackling going off at Araxa, for example, when he has webbed, or she, if it's Araxi. Ingenuity of the humans will no longer snipe regular auto attacks, so you can use your vulnerability spell without worries. Now, there were a couple of other fixes, including invention charge checking, spamming your chat box, an issue with quick prayer presets, and Dragonbreath not prioritizing your target if it was far away or something, but I don't think they are necessarily worth explaining, as you'll benefit from these regardless if you knew about them or not. These other ones though were very important, and I'm glad they were added to the game, and that's why I wanted to make a video about them in case you weren't aware, because the Revolution one and Aerial Loot are pretty big. The simple reason for this is I do not want to drag this video out any longer than it needs to be, as I have a future PvM tips and tricks video I'm slowly working towards where it might be mentioned as well. With that being said though, catch you guys in the next one. Peace.